I am joined today by business coach and educator Elise. And I'm so happy that she's joining me for the first episode. And before we go into who she is, what she does, I just want to explain a bit about the concept. So, I love to see that there are so many women that they're leaving their 9 to 5 and building businesses that give them the lifestyle freedom, flexibility, and also legacy that they want. At the same time, I feel really concerned when I look at the numbers. So, a lot of people starting businesses, but we see from statistics that more than 46% of these businesses don't last past the first 5 years, right? And that's really concerning. Also, when we look at the industry, that there's so many women entering online service delivery, but there's mostly men that are at the forefront of delivering their, let's say, their methods and their teachings. So we want to shift that. And that's why I want to talk about not how to get into business, but how to stay in business. So this is exactly what this is about. And I'm so happy that I invited you, Elise, because you've been in business for 10 years. You
Yes.
also had a 9 to 5, 6 figure job, and you transitioned from that to building your own 6 figure business. And you're building the second one right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You've been full time for 3 years, right? So, yeah, so happy to have you here. Could you shortly introduce yourself?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on, Aisha. It's an honor, to be very honest. And yeah, so my name is Elise Beckles. I am based out in Toronto, Canada, by way of Trinidad and Tobago. And grown up in Toronto, lived here most of my life. And I am the founder of a tutoring company called the French Tutor, where we work with French students to really get them strong in their French literacy skills, and this is countrywide. And I also mentor and coach other education business owners to build their businesses similar to what I've done.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more about what made you actually transition from the 9 to 5 into full time business ownership.
Wow, that's a great question. A loaded one, but if I could shorten that into one sentence, I I felt very loudly that what I was doing in my 9 to 5 ultimately was not bringing me joy. I felt it. It was a physical feeling to it. And I would have to say, in the pandemic, with the stillness that was happening, it was even more loud. So I have a background in marketing and communications. So I explored that in the corporate world. I worked in marketing management roles at pretty big brands, global brands, and found glimpses of joy. So obviously, when I got to use my creativity and got to build and got to contribute and coach others, even within the corporate world, I got pieces of the joy, but it would be short lived.
Mm.
So more and more, when I felt that inner voice was kind of edging me to pursue that back burner French tutoring business that I had, but it wasn't my priority. That's when I knew it was time to take a leap of faith.
Amazing. I love that. And now you've been in business full time for 3 years.
Yes.
And I just mentioned, the fact that 46% of online based businesses they fail within the first 5 years. What do you believe are some of the contributing factors to this from your perspective as someone that has been in business full time for some time?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And it's one where I don't want to say I have that be all end all answer on it, but I will say a big contributing factor would probably be that they gave up too soon. When
Mm.
I study and examine a lot of successful business owners, even leaders in their respective spaces, they stuck with it. So even if that meant pivoting from the original idea or concept, but I think when you have an entrepreneurial spirit, it is honestly sometimes that, listen, just keep going, take it one day at a time, one moment often at a time, and I feel like your path or where you're ultimately meant to be will find you. So I'll say sometimes it's about having this plan and it doesn't look exactly how you thought it would look, it does cause a lot of people within just a few years say, you know what, it's not working, it's not sticking, and give up.
Yeah.
Before even pivoting, they're giving up. So,
Yeah. And why do you think it's so difficult for people to have that entrepreneurial spirit, pivot when needed, and just like commit to the path they chose? Why do you think that's so difficult?
well, I think the comfort, the lack thereof, who wants to be uncomfortable? And sometimes it's like the uncomfortability, that feeling, you're not even given the roadmap of how long that's going to last. So I
Mm,
think often it is having the dream, having the blueprint for how you designed something to be, and it just feeling more comfortable to pull out when it's not going that way. So I think it's literally the human, the
yeah.
human element and the mindset. It can be really beat down, I would say. That can cause people just to call it quits.
And what are some moments in your own journey that you wanted to quit, and how did you navigate that?
Ooh, so many,
Pick
so many. Well, a big one. So when our tutoring business was originally set up very traditionally, so we had a one-to-one model. We were very in-person based. We had virtual elements, but the main offering was very much in person. So the pandemic squashed that reality. It squashed the entire model of the business, essentially. And it was a moment, like I said, in the stillness, there was a consideration like, do I keep the French tutor? Do I keep going? Or like what? The pandemic has just changed the world. So I guess, like my business, where does it fit with this new change?
Mhm.
And what I found was I got into an environment, the timing of that, where I got into an environment in community with people who were in similar positions as me. So I got into community during the pandemic with other educators who had their businesses freeze, plummet even. And I think being in that environment, we all rebuilt each other back up. So that's when the business and the community I was in, different learnings and teachings just taught us how to revamp and to restructure our business models for online success that would be sustainable.
Wow, I really love how you highlight the importance of community when it comes
Yeah.
to going through difficult
Yes.
moments. Because
Yes.
it's also something that I'm learning now, especially when you want to build for the long term. In the beginning, you're just wondering, like, okay, can I actually make this work? Can I sell? But then in the long term, it's more about no, that's good. It's more about building a community of people, right? A movement, and also just having like being in different programs where you don't feel so alone
Yes.
in your own struggle, right? So next to community, like internally within yourself, like what are some of the resources that you have developed over time to help you when these challenges arise?
Whew. So I've had to seek them out, re-seek them out, even. And a lot of it is mindset work. So it is because I think, like I said, the reason a lot of people don't stay in business is because they they called it quits. And when I study even someone like a Jeff Bezos and knowing that Amazon, what it is not what it set out to be, and having many failed businesses is what got to the Amazon structure, it's like, wow, what was going on up here for someone like him and others to just keep going. So for me, it's a lot of mindset work. Mindset has to be intentional. It has to come from what you're consuming, from your music to your podcast to, for me, who's in my text messages, who do you want around you in the evenings after a long day, because you're like, man, you may not do what I do, but at least there's some positive voices saying, you got this. Yeah, well, tell me about it. Like, so you can explain your problems and being in community where you can kind of offload and reset and recharge. So for me, the mindset work has come from just seeking intentional uh, consumption. Whatever I'm consuming, I'm very intentional about it. And yeah, just handpicking who's in the mix, who's around me. I'm handpicking that.
I love that. So community, like your environments, what you
Yes.
listen. This is like such a
Yes.
holistic approach to
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
element of staying in business, which I love. So next to the mindset and what you mentioned, what are some of the skills that obviously when you get started, you have to build a lot of skills, right? But as you're growing and scaling, what are those skills that you feel like are a non-negotiable to stay in business?
So definitely sales.
Okay.
One word, sales. And it's something I know for a fact coming from the way my education business was set up. Sales is not a word that usually is on the forefront because it is always from a service perspective where you want to serve. Obviously, I work with a lot of students who are looking to improve in French and get better in their literacy skills and comprehension. So, sales can sometimes be put on the back burner, which in retrospect makes no sense because that's how a business grows. So,
Mm.
for me, sales became and remains the number one area of focus. And sales, as I can share, used to be a word that scared me a lot more. But learning to do sales that is specific to who you are and that respects your authenticity, it does make it easier. But these are skills I've had to learn. It doesn't just happen, didn't just happen for me.
Yeah. And what would you say to, because this is something that a lot of business owners actually face, especially women. The real, it's like the gap between I know I'm good at what I do, and when someone works with me, their lives literally can change. However, I feel really uncomfortable with reaching out to people, or when they come to me, what do I say, or on the call, I don't know, I just feel nervous. Like, what would you say to those people that are aware that now that's the gap they have to close if they want to stay in business?
Yeah, so I would say that you've got to really evaluate and consider what the vision is that you want for your life. And often the vision that we have for ourselves, if it's not scaring us, then maybe it's not big enough. I've heard that and I believe that to be true. So I would say do it scared. Do it
Mm,
scared. Admit that, call it out, say, hey, I am a little uncomfortable. This is really not feeling all that great for me. But understanding if it is a gap or if it's something that you want to become stronger in, that as a business owner, you have to do the uncomfortable to bring the vision to life sometimes.
yeah, absolutely. And next to sales, like, what are some other strategic investments that you made so the business kept growing?
Yeah, so I definitely invested I early on into systems. I believe that setting up your business in a way that has automations that removes a lot of the busy work is essential. I have also invested in support. So having virtual assistants for different tasks and having in my world other teachers and other people who can do some of the field work. That's been my main investments. Yes, definitely systems and into the right people and
Mm,
coaching and coaching. Yes.
yes, absolutely.
So coaches need coaches.
So I hear it sounds like all around investments, right? So both on
Oh
like the
yeah.
back end of your business, operational wise, etc. And one thing I hear from a lot of women is that element of not wanting to let go, right? So oh, the business starts with me doing everything, and now all of a sudden I have to like give it to other people, and I
Yeah.
lose control. So
Yeah.
how did you go through that, first of all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was the VA and I was like wanting to stay the VA and I said, Elise, come on.
Yeah. So how did you navigate that?
So through coaching, Yeah, I don't think it's unique to me in terms of that feeling, because it's essentially my baby. Okay, French Shooter was birthed in 2015, and it's like, okay, I'm trying to scale the business and grow, and I'm training others. I'm creating SOPs on the how to's, do the task, and then still doing the task. So it was a matter of just telling myself, take a step back. Let someone else make life a little easier for you, but you have to let them.
Yeah.
So that's how I would say it wasn't easy all the time because you're so used to doing all the things. But for the growth aspect, it's just a necessary let go. Just got to tell yourself, let go.
Absolutely. And we spoke a lot about mindset and like the emotional roller coaster and things like that. So like for you and also being a woman, right? Like we cannot separate ourselves from our business, even though we know the business is just like logic. Business is logic. But as
Yes.
women, obviously we go through emotions, like we have our seasons, etc. So how do you manage to just stay consistent in your business while going through those emotional ups and downs?
Ooh, good question. So anyone who knows me knows that I have all the feelings for all the things. All the things. Call Elise because she will have the feelings for it. It's been a superpower, but also when it comes to business, it is a muscle that I had to learn when to flex. So that comes just from experience, I would say. Sometimes, it's being in spaces where a coach will tell you, okay, I know you're feeling the thing, but the reminder of the vision, right? The reminder of why did you set out to do this? And I think it's important to know that your feelings there's space for it. There's also space where you can use that and connect to, let's say, your ideal client. Use that and create a different marketing piece. So
Mhm.
how to use it has been more what I've been working on lately. And yeah, because I would hate to say it's possible to bury it and it not to be there, but that's not reality. So just
Yeah,
knowing when to flex it, yeah, that's kind of the dance I'm working through right now.
I love that. It's just always developing,
Yeah.
always room to grow, to
Yes.
continue growing. And every time you think, it's an end destination, you realize it's not. It's just a journey with
That's right.
no end. And I feel like that's also the beauty of how you grow as well as a person, as your business grows and as you stay in business. So obviously you work with other educators to help them to scale their own business. So, what is that mindset and emotional side of your coaching that you give them as they're also going through this journey?
Sure. So a lot of it is just, I would say, connecting and letting them know that I have been in similar places where they've been, whether it's the doubt, whether it's the the fear of being more visible as a business owner and no longer hiding behind their brand or their logos like I was doing. So I think when I can connect to their human side, it does help them trust the business side of me as well. Because what I would truly not be Elise if I did was just show them the business side of me. I'm human first. I am heart centered first, and now let's get to business, right? But you meet the human, and then we meet the business lady, and we merge that and just take steps one step at a time.
Yeah, I love that, one step at a time. So, talking about steps, like what are some projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, great question. So right now, from the French tutor perspective, we are gearing up for our summer program. So our summer literacy program, it's a huge deal. In French immersion learning, there is something called the summer slide in all learning, actually, but even more so in French immersion, because our students, 2 months off for school when you're learning a second language is not, it's not recommended.
Mm.
So we're gearing up, preparing for that, and getting our team ready to launch that. And yeah, we are actively enrolling other educators as well into our 90-day program where we're gearing them up to build their own flagship offers and really just skyrocket for the next coming months. So that is what is hot and ongoing. Yeah.
I really love how it's just so interrelated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having the education business, you giving value to students, helping them with their French language, and then also utilizing your own business skills and your own experience to help other educators on that journey. Like it's just like holistic, and I love that as well. And it also shows your entrepreneurial spirit, right? Because knowing that hey, I've done this, and now I can use this knowledge, the skill, the mindset, emotion, everything I've learned to help others on that journey as well. So
Absolutely.
I love that. So where can our audience, if we have any educators in the audience, to where can they find you and connect with you?
Great. So everyone, you can find me on Facebook. Look for my name, Elise Beckles. Add me as a friend. Happy to have a chat with you as well on Instagram. So on Instagram, it is at thefrenchtutor.ca and you'll get to know me. Let's connect. Let's make magic happen.
Yes, thank you so much, Elise, for being our first guest.
Thank you.
And yeah, we will see you around for sure. And everyone, go and connect with Elise.
Yes.
Right.